Shalonda's Short Stories, written by Shalonda Reese. Story number 4, The Attic, Part 1. Oliver and Shelby Griffin was a newlywed couple. They were excited about starting their new lives together. Shelby's grandparents had made the down payment on a nice, quaint, two-bedroom house in the suburbs of Johnsonville County as a gift for the couple. Oliver and Shelby were grateful because it meant they wouldn't have to live with Oliver's parents after all. Oliver's parents had offered up their guest bedroom for Oliver and Shelby until they had saved up enough money for their own place. Oliver and Shelby had just gotten back from their honeymoon in the islands. They were still on cloud 9 and quickly came down off of that high once they realized they still had a lot of unpacking to do. Boxes were everywhere, piled up on top of another. There were so many gifts from people. They were absolutely grateful, but the task of having to go through everything seemed daunting. It was a beautiful summer afternoon, and Shelby's birthday was the following week. Oliver wanted to have everything cleared away because he was planning a surprise birthday celebration in their new home the following weekend. Shelby was in no rush to put everything away quickly, but Oliver was. Oliver, babe, just relax. We have our whole lives to put things away. Oliver thought quickly on how to coax her into unpacking without her getting suspicious. Shelby, it's our new home. We should put things away as quickly as possible. When your grandparents come to visit, you want it to look homey, right? It would show appreciation for what they had done. Furthermore, I'm not comfortable with all of these boxes in here. Let's unpack in a hurry. Ollie. There was a shuffling sound upstairs. Did you hear that? Oliver asked. Hear what? Shelby asked, unpacking the box. Shh. Maybe I'm just hearing things. Ollie, you really should relax. I am pretty sure I heard something. Well, maybe it was outside or something. Probably. You know our neighbors have 5 children, all under the age of 10, 2 dogs and a cat. How do you know all of this? Oliver asked. Because I'm very observant. Oh, the pizza's here. You ordered a pizza? Yes, I did. Pizza for Shelby Griffin, the delivery guy said. Yep, that's me. Thank you for being prompt. No problem. That would be $15.38. She pulled a 20 out of her pocket and handed it to him. Keep the change. Thanks, ma'am. And to finish answering your question, do you expect me to cook? Look at this place. Nothing is unpacked. That's why we should unpack in a hurry, Shelby. We shouldn't start off spending money if we don't have to. There are canned soups and a loaf of bread. We could have eaten that. Yes, we could have, but we have this. So let's just eat and enjoy the food, shall we? Shelby and Oliver sat at the table and ate the pizza in silence. Oliver knew that Shelby had a much more relaxed nature about her. She didn't take life too seriously, which was the total opposite of Oliver. That's what Oliver liked and disliked about her. There were times where her lackadaisical nature worked, and at other times it bothered him. Oliver grew up in a household with 2 brothers and 1 sister. Money was always tight. They were poor, but their parents were somehow able to make ends meet and feed them. Oliver remembered in the 6th grade when money was so scarce that his dad would go some nights without eating to make sure all of the kids were fed. That memory ached in Oliver's soul. That's why he was so frugal with money. He had a nice savings that he hadn't told Shelby about just yet. He wasn't sure he would want to share something like that with her, because her attitude about money was that it should be spent. His attitude was that it should be saved. In his personal savings account, he had $14,000 saved up from his work as a store manager. He didn't go to college like Shelby did. He worked as a supermarket manager, a position he was promoted to last year. Shelby, on the other hand, liked how Oliver balanced her out. She had a degree in journalism and worked at the Johnsonville paper, a newspaper station. She didn't have as much saved as she should have had. She had been working there 4 years and made a decent amount of money. Yet she only had $3,000.22 in her account. She wouldn't dare let Oliver know that, because he would throw it up in her face that it's because she doesn't save. On their honeymoon, Oliver needed to use an ATM, and he ended up dropping the receipt by accident. Shelby was always curious about how much money he made because he seemed to always be secretive about money. She saw that he had $14,000 in his account. She was impressed and relieved. She never told him she knew how much money he had. "I'll put these 3 leftover slices in the fridge," Oliver said. "Sure," Shelby said, uninterested. They unpacked a few more boxes that night before heading off to bed. A sound came from above. Oliver stirred and sat up. He looked over at Shelby. She was sound asleep. The clock read 2:38. Oliver quietly got out of bed, walked softly across the floor as to not awaken Shelby. He looked in the other bedroom. He looked in the hall closet, the kitchen, the bathroom, the den, and the office room. There was nothing out of place. He looked out the window. Next door, he saw the dogs sleeping. The lights were off in the neighbor's house, with the exception of the porch light being on. "Why do I keep hearing noises in this house?" Oliver went back to bed. Shelby stirred and rolled over and opened her eyes. "Is everything okay?" she asked. "Yes, everything is fine." Shelby didn't look convinced. "Oliver, your expression." "I just keep hearing noises." "Did you check around?" "Yes, I did. I found nothing." Shelby rolled over and went back to sleep without a response. Oliver lied awake for about another 20 minutes, staring into the dark before he fell asleep. The next morning, as Shelby prepared a breakfast of toast and coffee, she noticed that 2 of the pizza slices were gone. She thought that was odd, since Oliver never ate after 8 p.m. Oliver strolled into the kitchen. He didn't have to go into work until 9 a.m. It was 6:30, and the smell of the coffee woke him up. Oliver kissed Shelby. "Good morning, Shell." "Good morning. You look like you haven't woken up yet." "The coffee will wake me up." Oliver pours himself a cup of coffee. He bit into a slice of toast. "Hey, Ollie?" "Yeah." "Did you eat 2 slices of pizza last night?" Oliver looked at her confused. "No." "Well, there's only 1 slice left, and you put away 3 slices." Oliver looked into the fridge. "Then that means you ate it," Oliver retorted. "No, I did not." Shelby stared at Oliver. "Well, I didn't eat it." "It's not that big of a deal. I just thought it was odd since you don't eat after 8 p.m. "But I didn't eat it," Oliver explained. "Ollie, hon, it's okay." "You don't believe me?" Oliver asked, insulted. "Who else ate it, Ollie?" "I don't know." "Is there a ghost in here?" Oliver stared at Shelby for a moment. What is it, Ollie? I've been hearing noises. Maybe it's rats. Nothing else makes sense if you didn't eat it, because I didn't eat them either. An hour later, Shelby had gone to work, and Oliver was unpacking the box that had all of the bathroom stuff in it. He had another hour before it would be time for him to go to work. The phone rang. Hey, Oliver! Hey, Fran. It was Shelby's mother, who was helping Oliver to plan her surprise birthday party. Is she there? No, she's gone to work. Okay, well, we have 3 more people to add to the guest list. I know that it is going to cost more money, but we will cover that. Don't you worry about that. Thank you, Fran. You've been a great help. Nothing strange has been happening, has it, Oliver? Oliver thought it strange that Fran would just say something like that out of the blue. No, he said hesitantly. Why do you ask? Just making sure everything is okay, Fran quipped, changing the subject. I know what a pain it is to unpack so many boxes. Take it easy, Oliver. Fran hung up. Something about that conversation made Oliver uneasy. Why would Fran just ask me a question like that unless she was expecting me to say yes? Oliver thought that he would put some of the items that they didn't want to throw away, but yet had no use for them in the attic. He and Shelby checked out the attic when they first took a look at the house before they went on their honeymoon, but they hadn't been up there since. It was small and dusty, just big enough for storage space. I'll get to it tonight, Oliver thought. Oliver went to the bedroom to get dressed. As Oliver was about to leave, he thought he heard a faint noise, but he ignored it. He had grown a little weary of hearing things. He was wondering if Shelby thought he had gone off his rocker. As Oliver opened his car door, he looked around his neighborhood. It was a nice neighborhood, and for a moment, he felt quite proud of how far he had come. He closed his eyes and whispered, Thank you, Lord, for the blessing of a wife, a nice job, a new house. Life is good, and it's all because of you. Oliver smiled to himself, for he often thought of his childhood and how poor they were, but yet his parents trusted God daily to provide for them. Oliver started the ignition, checked his phone before pulling off, and backed out of the driveway. As he put the car into drive to go forward, he looked up at the attic window and saw a face looking back at him. Oliver's heart stopped as he brought the car to a complete halt. To be continued.